The White Wolf of Woodberry. Chapter 1. The Legend Awakens. In the heart of the dense Woodberry Forest, a legend whispered through the rustling leaves and the eerie mist that clung to the ground like a ghostly shroud. It spoke of a creature, neither entirely wolf nor holy spirit, known only as the White Wolf. For centuries, the people of Woodberry spoke in hushed tones of the beast, warning travelers to stay clear of the forest once the sun dipped below the horizon. They said the White Wolf prowled the woods under the cover of night, its fur as white as the moon, its eyes burning with an otherworldly light. Among the tales told was one of a young couple who ventured into the forest on a moonless night, seeking refuge from a storm. They made camp beneath the ancient oak trees, unaware of the danger lurking in the darkness. As the night wore on, they heard the distant howl of the White Wolf, a sound that froze the blood in their veins. Terrified, they huddled together, praying for the first light of dawn to chase away their fears. But dawn brought only horror, for when the sun rose, the couple was nowhere to be found. All that remained was their campsite, torn apart as if by some unseen force, and a single set of footprints leading deeper into the forest. As the years passed, the legend of the White Wolf only grew, instilling fear in the hearts of all who heard it. Some claimed to have seen the creature with their own eyes, a ghostly apparition moving silently through the trees. Others dismissed it as nothing more than a bedtime story, a cautionary tale spun to keep children from straying too far from home. But for one young woman named Emily, the legend held a different kind of allure. Born and raised in Woodberry, she had grown up listening to the stories of the White Wolf, her imagination running wild with visions of adventure and danger. Now, as a young adult, she found herself drawn to the forest, unable to resist the call of the unknown. Chapter 2. Into the Darkness. On a crisp autumn evening, Emily stood at the edge of the Woodberry Forest, her heart pounding with excitement and trepidation. She had spent weeks preparing for this moment, gathering supplies and studying maps in secret, determined to uncover the truth behind the legend of the White Wolf. With a final glance over her shoulder, Emily stepped into the darkness, the sound of her footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of fallen leaves. The forest closed in around her, its branches reaching out like skeletal fingers, eager to ensnare the unwary traveler. As she ventured deeper into the woods, Emily felt a sense of unease creeping over her, a primal instinct warning her of the danger that lurked in the shadows. But she pushed aside her fear, focusing instead on the thrill of the hunt, the excitement of uncovering secrets long buried beneath the forest floor. Hours passed as Emily wandered through the darkness, her senses heightened by the oppressive silence that surrounded her. She strained her ears for any sound out of place, any hint of movement in the underbrush. But all she heard was the steady rhythm of her own heartbeat. Just as she was beginning to lose hope of ever finding anything of significance, Emily stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. At its center stood a solitary oak tree, its branches twisted and gnarled like the claws of some ancient beast. Drawing closer, Emily noticed a strange symbol carved into the trunk of the tree, its intricate design glowing faintly in the moonlight. Intrigued, she reached out to touch it, her fingers tracing the outline of the symbol with a mixture of awe and reverence. But as soon as her hand made contact with the rough bark, a chill ran down her spine, and she recoiled in horror. For in that moment, she felt a presence watching her from the darkness, a pair of eyes burning with an otherworldly light. Chapter 3. The Hunt Begins. Heart racing, Emily stumbled backward, her gaze darting frantically through the trees in search of the source of the mysterious presence. But all she saw was darkness, an impenetrable wall that seemed to swallow her whole. Summoning her courage, Emily forced herself to remain calm, her mind racing as she tried to make sense of what was happening. Was it possible that the legend of the White Wolf was true? That she had stumbled upon the creature's lair without even realizing it? Determined to uncover the truth, Emily pressed on, her footsteps echoing through the silence like a drumbeat in the night. With each passing moment, the feeling of being watched grew stronger, a palpable presence that seemed to shadow her every move. As she wandered deeper into the forest, Emily's senses were assaulted by a cacophony of sounds, the distant howl of a wolf, the rustle of leaves in the breeze, the faint whisper of a voice on the wind. She knew she was drawing closer to the heart of the mystery, closer to the truth that had eluded her for so long. Suddenly, without warning, Emily stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight, its ethereal glow illuminating the figure of a majestic white wolf standing before her. Its fur was as white as snow, its eyes burning with an otherworldly light that sent shivers down her spine. For a moment, Emily stood rooted to the spot, unable to tear her gaze away from the creature before her. In that moment, she felt a connection, a bond that transcended the boundaries of time and space. She knew then that she had found what she had been searching for, the truth behind the legend of the white wolf. But as she reached out to touch the creature, a sudden sense of dread washed over her, a primal instinct warning her of the danger that lurked within. With a start, Emily realized that she was not alone, that something far more sinister was at play in the heart of the Woodberry Forest. Chapter 4. The final confrontation with a sinking feeling in her chest, Emily turned to flee, her footsteps echoing through the darkness as she raced through the trees. But no matter how fast she ran, she could not escape the feeling of being pursued, of being hunted by something far more powerful than she could ever imagine. As she ran, Emily's mind raced with thoughts of the white wolf, of the legend that had brought her to this place. She knew now that the creature was real, that it was not some mere bedtime story spun to scare children into obedience. But what she did not know was why the white wolf had chosen to reveal itself to her, why it had allowed her to glimpse the truth behind the legend. Was it trying to warn her of some greater danger lurking in the shadows, or was it simply toying with her, luring her deeper into its web of deceit? With each passing moment, Emily felt the darkness closing in around her, its icy grip tightening with every step she took. She knew that she was running out of time, that she had to find a way to escape the forest before it was too late. But just as she was beginning to lose hope, Emily stumbled upon a glimmer of light shining through the trees. With a burst of renewed energy, she raced toward it, her heart pounding in her chest as she drew closer to freedom. And then, finally, she burst through thick curtain of trees and found herself standing at the edge of the Woodberry Forest, bathed in the warm glow of the morning sun. She collapsed to her knees, gasping for breath, her body trembling with exhaustion and relief. As she caught her breath, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she had narrowly escaped a fate worse than death. The encounter with the white wolf had left her shaken to her core, her mind reeling with questions that begged for answers. Gathering her strength, Emily rose to her feet and began to make her way back to the safety of her home. With each step, she felt the weight of the forest lifting from her shoulders, replaced by a sense of gratitude for having survived the ordeal. But even as she left the Woodberry Forest behind her, Emily knew that the memory of her encounter with the white wolf would stay with her forever. It was a reminder of the thin line that separates legend from reality, of the dangers that lurk in the darkness waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek them out. And as she walked, Emily made a silent vow to herself. She would never forget the lessons she had learned in the heart of the Woodberry Forest, nor would she ever again underestimate the power of the unknown. For in the end, she knew that it was only by confronting her fears